How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 3.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It's Eric Erickson across the fruited plain from coast to coast. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you. Charlie and I had this conversation this morning. How much do you talk about a topic like this? How much do you talk about the crazy coming from your own side and the weird stuff that's coming out? I struggle with it. But my gosh, the number of people on our side who just immediately, because they read something on the internet, they've decided it's true. It's starting to suggest to me there's a profound sickness on our side that used to only be on the other side. I mean, the left, take the whole drag queen thing for just a minute on the left. Because people on the right said they didn't think it was a good idea, people on the left just rushed it forward. It's not that they thought it was good, it's that they knew people on the right didn't like it, and so they decided, well, I'm going to do it. Profound consequences that aren't really great. It's just kind of wild. But now on the right, there's this descent to crazy on the right. So let's talk about Kamala Harris's earrings. Only briefly. Boy, have I gotten some angry emails from people saying, you're insulting your listeners. How dare you call us idiots for thinking she was wearing a microphone? And hers. This is the theory that her earrings, and I think, don't hold me to this, but I think Laura Loomer is one of the people who started this, which should immediately be discrediting if it was her. But Kamala Harris was wearing earrings from Tiffany's. I know she was wearing earrings from Tiffany's because in advance there was a story about Kamala Harris and her style and fashion. And she's got these earrings from Tiffany. And by the way, if you zoom into her ear and you look, they look identical to the earrings from Tiffany's. But they kind of look like, slightly different from, but they kind of look like someone found a picture of some sort of Kickstarter or something of these earrings. They're earbuds for women, but they look like earrings, and they're not identical. They have the Kamala Harris's has two small pieces underneath the pearl, and this one has one bigger piece. But people saw it like, look, she's wearing earbuds. They're whispering in her ear. They're microphones. Now, I want to say something as a radio guy who uses studio quality microphones. It's immediately can't be true because those pearls were not inside her ears, which means the sound and frequency release would have been into her ears, but they would have been external, which means they would have caused interference with the studio quality microphones being used to broadcast a national television debate. For those of you who were kids in the 1980s who had modems and you had portable phones, remember how your computer could predict an incoming phone call because you get the in the speakers before the call started. You would have gotten that level of feedback. And you didn't get that, did you? You couldn't hear the people whispering in her ears, could you? You couldn't hear a feedback loop, could you? You couldn't do any of that stuff. Not only that, we also know the earrings were from Tiffany. We also know that they had 2 bands underneath the pearl, not one single flat band underneath the pearl, which for these wireless earbud supposed microphones that she was listening to were there. But you didn't even need to know any of that, did you? All you had to do was hear her answers on stage, which were not good answers. She dodged instead of answering the questions. Some of you somehow think that the only reason she had a good debate was because she had someone whisper in her ear when her answers were crap. So she was paying someone by wearing microphones in her ears to listen to someone give her garbage answers. You would have thought that if she was going to go through the trouble of rigging the debate, not just with 2 biased moderators, but also with an earpiece where someone could whisper in her ear, she would have paid someone to give her better answers than the crap answers she gave on stage. But instead, somebody somewhere on the internet said, aha, they were microphones in her ears, and some idiots out there believed it. And yes, I'm going to say idiots, and you should feel stupid if you believe that they were microphones. You actually should. And if you feel bad at me telling you you're stupid, it's because this is what tough love is like, and you're an idiot for thinking she was wearing microphones in her ears because someone said something on the internet, and it therefore must be true. Dear God, help you. Could we get some serious people on our side? And this is part of the problem. Soeb Amari has a piece, and I don't agree with everything he says in the piece, but it actually, he makes a sound point. And the point that he makes is that increasingly we have confused free speech for the be-all, end-all of expression on the right. And what's happening is we're dumbing ourselves down with an intellectual sickness because we've decided free speech is the highest right, not truth, or the highest and best use of speech and not truth. And he goes back to the whole issue of this idiot, Daryl Cooper, on Tucker Carlson, who's remaking World War II as Churchill as the bad guy. I have no doubt this is partly a reaction to the historical revisionism that has emanated from mainstream quarters. The New York Times Magazine 1619 Project, for example, falsely framed the defense of slavery as the prime motivation for the American Revolution until the magazine clarified the story under pressure from historians and its own journalists. This is one episode in a wider story of Anglo-American progressive centering of identity and grievance politics that was bound to trigger a backlash like the one unfolding today. At some point, however, blaming the left for the ideological grotesqueries of the right begins to feel like the sort of root causes blame shifting that we conservatives reject when it comes to, say, Islamist ferment in certain American and European suburbs. The sickness of the right can't begin to heal until we admit that it has causes that are imminent to the right. Foremost among those is the fetish of free speech as the sole end of political life. Loath to actually govern, lest it encroach on donor-class prerogatives, the institutional right has long substituted procedural claims, why can't I ask questions, for substantive ones about the good life. Free speech and inquiry are valuable, but treated as the highest good, these ideals give rise to pure shock jock politics. And then what happens is you get defensive because the people in the tribe all defend it, and you're part of the tribe. So when the heterodox person who's speaking the truth tells you, no, there are no microphones in Kamala Harris's ears, you've got to email that guy angrily to tell him you're insulting me and my intelligence. Well, you need to be insulted about your intelligence because you have none. You've outsourced your brain to Facebook or social media or some idiot lying to you online, and you decide that it's the truth because, oh, well, I think she's an idiot, therefore she had to give dumb answers, but she won the debate, therefore she must have been wearing a microphone because, God forbid, she might have actually just won the debate on her own merit and 2 moderators helping her. We're going to keep losing if we keep being dumb people who let idiots online think for us and tell us things that aren't true. We have to be grounded in truth. Now, I want to step back for a moment and say something else, a little more heartfelt on this. Now, for those of you who aren't believers, I'm not talking to you, but just eavesdrop on this conversation. Do you believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ, if you're a believer? Because I got to tell you, to people on the outside, Christianity is a little weird. So you're telling me that this kid was born of a virgin. Really, you want me to believe that? You want me to believe this child was born of a virgin? You want me to believe that he grew up perfect and blameless and was actually God Almighty himself, and they killed him and he came back to life? That sounds a little weird. You really want me to believe there was this giant boat filled with animals and there was a massive worldwide flood and God punished the world and all humanity came back and all the animals of the world came back from this one guy with his family on a boat, rested on a mountain, sent out a dove, came back with an olive branch? You really want me to believe that? You really want me to believe that this guy Jesus could bring someone back from the dead? You really want me to believe that? Why should I? You're the person who believes Kamala Harris had to be wearing microphones in her ears in order to get through a debate. How can you be an effective witness when you yourself are so easily duped into things that are not true? How can you effectively talk about the truth when you're willing to see something online and just decide, well, it must be true because I saw it on Facebook? This becomes a problem. Your yes should be a yes and your no should be a no. And you should be guarding yourself from believing things that aren't true, because when the time comes for you to be able to be a good witness about the things that you know to be true, people aren't going to believe you if you believe all this other crazy stuff, because faith is a hard thing for people who aren't believers. It's a little wild to believe God created a single man and from him derived a woman in a Garden of Eden, and then they were exiled. It is a hard thing for non-believers to believe, and they're not going to believe it from you if you're out there settling on the crazy conspiracy theory that is all the rage on Twitter today because you read about it online and therefore it must be true. Now, those of you not of faith, come back into the conversation here. The moral of the story here is that there are a lot of people trying to convince you things that aren't true. And they're trying to convince you of those things and to distract you from things because they really don't share your agenda. Most of you listening, not all of you, I know the demographics of the show, but most of you listening actually want Donald Trump to win this election. You understand it would be bad if Kamala Harris won. Normal people in the real world are focused on the economy, and they're focused on immigration, they're focused on crime, they're focused on the border. They're not focused on Kamala Harris was wearing a microphone that pretended to be earrings, and they're not really focused on people are eating household pets in Springfield, Ohio. They're focused on things that really do matter and things that are really real. And you're not going to convince them that Donald Trump is the guy when you're screaming about the conspiracy theory you read online. If you want Donald Trump to be the winner, all you have to do is not be as crazy as the other side. The other side believes boys can become girls and should be allowed to compete against girls in girl sports. And that's crazy. But so too is reading online that Kamala Harris was wearing microphones as earrings, and that's how she had a good debate. All you have to do to win this election is not to be as crazy as the other side. And some people just can't help themselves. And that's a problem. AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry. Everybody's talking about it. Billions of dollars invested, so buckle up. The problem is AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, Databricks, Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/Erickson, Erickson. That's oracle.com/Erickson, oracle.com/Erickson. Go check them out today. Now I got to correct myself. Welcome back. I kept saying microphones in her ears, speakers, that someone was talking to her, earbuds. That's what people are saying as I'm talking into my microphone. Yeah, you would have heard the reverb if they were speakers. You would have heard the reverb in the studio microphone that she's using. It's one of the real problems when you have even a small speaker like I can't wear AirPods here in my studio with the microphone and speaker system because of reverb it could create when you're in the studio. So no, it's speakers, not microphones. Y'all knew what I meant, thankfully. But that's a bridge too far for that. All right, I want to go to Charlie calling from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Welcome to the show, Charlie. How are you? Charlie?
Hey, good. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Can you? All right, good. Hey, as many of us, we were kind of disappointed in the way the debate all went down the other night. But I think an interesting point that hasn't been brought up, at least I haven't heard it, is we've got all this conversation about women's rights, right to choose, all that kind of thing. And we're all looking in the mirror and thinking we got to take care of the women here. But nobody's talking about, what about Afghanistan?
Mm-hmm.
We left them just hanging out there to dry. We pulled everybody out, let some of our folks get killed, a bunch of our allies get killed, and now the women have no rights of any kind. They can't talk in public. They have to be covered up. They have to, all those things that they have to do over there. And it's just, I don't know, it's very hypocritical.
It is. It's hypocritical and gross.
That.
And, what's so funny, Charlie, is there was actually a big story, a big op-ed yesterday in the New York Times about what's happened in Kabul, and no one on the left cares. They're all about human rights around the world, except in the Chinese sweatshops and in Afghanistan. They want to preach a good game, but they really don't care. In Afghanistan, schools are now closed to girls, and it is now a crime for a girl or a woman to read. It is a crime to read, let alone show your face. You're not allowed to show your face or skin in public if you're a woman. What's so funny is all these people on the left lecture us about The Handmaid's Tale, and they dress up in the red robes and say this is going to be Donald Trump's America if Donald Trump gets elected, and they have handed the handmaidens over to the Taliban in Afghanistan, and the best they can do is say, well, it was really Donald Trump's fault. Really? Oh, and by the way, there are still Americans in Afghanistan that Joe Biden hasn't been able to get out of there. Yeah, that's true. There are, and all the people who got killed in the process. It is a disastrous thing, and yet another thing that Kamala Harris can be prosecuted for in this, not criminally prosecuted, but prosecuted for on a debate stage and in this campaign for their failures. Between bank collapses and more teetering on the brink and maybe interest rate cuts coming, but we don't know how much, and right now 22-year high interest rates, Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash for some time. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war on cash, I got a free report for you, I recommend, from Swiss America. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they can educate you on protecting your assets. It takes less than 15 minutes to read about this secret war on cash. You can protect your retirement and finances. What you do to get a free copy is you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency, and it is spreading. So read the Secret War on Cash report for free. Just call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. Call them, mention my name, Eric, or just text ERICK to 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. Greetings, conversationalists, I am delighted to have you with me across America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I have to tell you guys, just set the scene for you here. I am a highly listened to show in Springfield, Ohio. So my affiliate there, WHIO, is the big talk station in Springfield, Ohio. And everybody's listening. And I know everyone's listening because they're just telling the PD there at WHIO that my email server is going to crash. I'm getting so many emails from so many people in Springfield telling me what's going on. Now, my favorite is from a guy I just emailed a little while ago and said, you're going to lose all your listeners because you're not telling people about what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. And so I reply to the guy and say, you mean the city that I just spent 30 minutes explaining what's going on with overrun housing and overrun healthcare and overrun schools and the geese dying in the parks and getting eaten? And he's like, yeah, that one. Oh my gosh, it is. So my frustration with this story, honestly, is twofold. One, that it's being mischaracterized what's happening. The pets thing is a distraction, and you can pat yourself on the back and say, hey, we memed our way into media attention. The problem, though, is the way the media now wants to cover it is the other big thing is they're going, no, pets have been harmed in the reporting of this story. It's just a bunch of racists. No, it's a huge story. It's a massive story. But here's the other problem. The third thing is it's not just Springfield, Ohio. Now, my people in Springfield, I'm going to come visit y'all at some point because I want to go to Udders and Putters at the dairy. Everybody there, when I said it was called Udders and Putters because that's what it said on my map, they're like, no, this is Jones Dairy. Is it Jones Dairy? My God, if I don't get it right, I'm going to get ambushed again by millions of people. My old boss, the pig farmer's from there as well. He also sent me a note. But yeah, let's make sure we get it right because I don't want a bunch of angry people saying, up, you said somebody else's names. It's north of Yellow Springs. It's Udders and Putters at Young's Dairy, not Jones, Young's Dairy. Already people have fired off an email to me. You said Jones, it's Young's. I'm going to go to Young's Dairy, and I'm going to go to Udders and Putters, and I'm going to do me some putt-putt. Now my boss, Ken, is sending me a picture of a cat that holding up the Chick-fil-A sign, eat more chicken. Eat more ducks. Eat more geese. Save the kitty cats and the puppy dogs. But here's the problem. Serious note. Moving away from you. Y'all, I love you in Springfield. I'm going to come see you, and then I'm going to go see if I can see Dave Chappelle down in Yellow Springs. But here's the thing. It's not just Springfield, Ohio. It is Aurora, Colorado. It is El Paso, Texas. It is Gwinnett County, Georgia. It is happening across the country. And the American Press Corps, circling the wagons around Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, haven't wanted to report on this. It is deeply destabilizing to communities around the country where this is happening. School systems get overwhelmed. Local healthcare systems get overwhelmed. Local social services get overwhelmed. Police get overwhelmed. The fire departments get overwhelmed. Let me address this in a different way. When we moved overseas, my dad, they gave him a company car to drive around the first few days we were in Dubai. I'm 5 years old. This is 1980. And they had roundabouts everywhere. Well, we're from Louisiana, where there might be a roundabout now, but there sure as heck were no roundabouts there in the 80s that I'm aware of. And in the middle of rush hour, in downtown Dubai, my father, trying to navigate his way around Dubai, got on a roundabout in rush hour and went the wrong way. Had no idea how he was supposed to navigate it. Scared my sister to death. Thank God I wasn't with him. I would have been traumatized for the rest of my life. Got on there. For those of you who have ever been to Dubai, it was the clock tower roundabout near the tunnel. Or was it the Falcon roundabout? It was one of the two, clock tower or Falcon roundabout. They're famous landmarks in Dubai. They're still there. Got on it, went the wrong way around into oncoming traffic. Had no idea how to navigate it. We were foreigners in a foreign land, strangers in a strange land. And they had something called a roundabout. Thank God he didn't die. But, it was us, country come to town. And now, in these cities around the country, you've got foreigners who have come in who they don't speak the language, they don't understand the customs, and the problem is progressives have decided institutionally at a philosophical and fundamental level that if you want people to integrate into your community, it's definitionally racism. It is not. I live in the most multicultural neighborhood in Middle Georgia. My neighbors are, white law professor, white dentist, white engineer, white doctor, retiree, black auto industry owner, Indian banker, Indian restaurateur, Pakistani doctor, Lebanese doctor. That's just all around me from where I live on my block. Got Lebanese, I got Indians, I got Pakistanis. There's some South Koreans. There's a couple from Hong Kong who fled. They're not communists. They fled. It's a pretty diverse neighborhood. And you know what? We have this massive Halloween. And everybody hands out candy. I myself this past year, for the very first time in my life, handed out full-size candy bars. And do you know why? Because I went to the store to get the little bags and they were sold out because I didn't buy candy until the day of Halloween. So I had to run to Sam's Club and pretend to be the super hyper rich person in the community handing out the super large size bars only because I totally forgot I had to buy the snack size stuff. You're not getting full size candy from me this year, Middle Georgia. No, sirree, Bob. And you know what? Side note, I got those full-size candy bars, and you know what the kids wanted? They wanted all the sour stuff. I thought, I'm going to get Kit Kats and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and Hershey bars and Snicker bars and Twix bars, and I got some of the sour stuff, the Sour Patch Kids and the gummy stuff. No. The kids these days are weird. They wanted the sour stuff, not the chocolate stuff. Explains everything happening in our society today, right there. But nonetheless, I digress. The Palestinian family, the Jewish family, the Lebanese family, the Pakistani family, the Indian families, the black families, the white families, the Hispanic families, everybody is out front handing out candy. Everybody's assimilated. Everybody shares the holidays. Everybody has customs. Christmas, we've got a lot of Indians in our community, and they celebrate, what is it, Diwali? But you know what? They decorate their houses with the rest of us for Christmas. They're not putting nativity scenes in the yards, but they're wrapping their trees and lights because everybody else in the neighborhood is. Everybody's come in over time. They want to be there, immigrant and native, and they've assimilated. But you go to Aurora, go to El Paso, go to Springfield, go wherever. None of these people are integrated into the community. And the progressives have decided it's a bad thing for them to integrate into the community because America is a systemically racist nation, and therefore we should not be a melting pot where all these cultures blend together. We should be separate, distinct, and unique. And that is a recipe for national cataclysmic events. Because if the people are coming in and they're overwhelming social services, they want to make little Haiti. Do you know why they're not in Haiti? They're not in Haiti because Haiti is a third world hellhole. And anyone who has lived in Haiti will tell you, I'm not saying something racist. I'm telling you the truth. People are fleeing that country because it is a collapsed, failed nation. The problem is they're coming here, not integrating in our society. They're bringing Haiti here. So as the one caller said, They're throwing their trash away and down into the sewer gutter and burning it in the backyard because they don't have trash collection in Haiti. They have no idea what regular weekly trash collection is and how to do it, so they're just doing it like they did in Haiti. And the social services aren't daring to go up to them and say, hey, this is what you have to do. We'll come pick up your trash once a week. It's like a miracle. Because it would be racist if they did that. And so instead what they're doing is they're painting the locals as racist for wanting the people not from there to try to find a way to fit into being there. And it's beyond Springfield. But let's focus there for just a second, because I said utters and putters. And all the people in the WHIO listening audience emailed and said it's not utters and putters, it's Young's Dairy, and we'd love to have you there. Utters and Putters is the putt-putt facility. They've also got a driving range, batting cage. You can get great ice cream, but it's Young's Dairy, an institution. Okay, that's fantastic. I would love to go to Young's Dairy, to Utters and Putters, and I will one day. But all those locals emailed because they're from there and they know it's not Utters and Putters. Who cares what Google Maps says? It's Young's Dairy, and they're an institution in our community. It's their community. And every community has a way of life. This is my frustration with progressives who can come into a community that, for example, they pray in school and have the one atheist come in and say, you're not allowed to do that anymore because I'm an atheist and by God, it's my way or the highway. The Supreme Court says so. It fosters resentment. When I was in high school, we said prayer at graduation. We had a Teach for America band teacher, Brent something or other. And Brent came in. I was the student who worked in the front office. And he came into Clarence Matthews, the principal of the high school, and he objected to a prayer at graduation. Said, don't you know the ACLU has won these court cases? Mr. Matthews looked at me. He says, Eric, are you the Supreme Court? And I said, no, sir. And he said, well, no Supreme Court around here. Guess we're going to pray at graduation. And you know what? The band teacher prayed at graduation. There are societal community norms in every society and community in this country, and only progressives think that the people who move in rapidly don't have to embrace those social norms, and that causes a social decline, decay, and resentment. And they're okay with social decline, decay, and resentment because they think if it happens, they can rebuild in their own image, except they're wrong. They're going to lose control through the massive influx of legal and illegal aliens who have come here deciding we can import our way of life. We do not have to conform. America can become like us, even though we're fleeing from our country to America. We're going to bring our country here. We don't want that, and they really don't want that. They want to be Americans, but we haven't provided them the institutional means to integrate into society because the left says it's racism to do so. And that's why Springfield, Ohio, and Aurora, Colorado, and El Paso, Texas, and all these other places in the country are having the problems with gangs and everything else, because we haven't institutionally demanded integration into our culture and society for people who come here. And in our society, the taco can become as American as the hamburger and the hot dog. We're a great people and a great nation, and people should want to be more like us and less like where they came from, but the left thinks that's bad, and that's the problem. What's also the problem is, well, stinky odor. That's where the Eden Pure Thunderstorm comes in. You can go get 3 of them and save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. You go to EdenPureDeals.com, you'll see a discount code box, and you put in Eric, E-R-I-C-K, and the number 3, Eric3 at EdenPureDeals.com. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm generates ozone, which goes and locks onto the ions. So odors are caused by ions that float in the air. And the ions connect into your nerve system in your nose and your senses, and it says, oh, this is a smoke odor. Oh, this is a dirty diaper. Oh, this is a wet dog. And what ozone does is it latches onto those ions before it gets to your nose, and it destroys them. And it cleans the air as a result. And because ozone is just like an ion, it's an atom, it can go into the small holes in the fabric that the odors are in. It can go into the cracks and crevices that you can't get through and wipe out those odors, and it works. I've used it in rental cars and hotel rooms. You can too. Get 3 of them, save $200. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, E-R-I-C-K3 at EdenPureDeals.com. Hello. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. I should prepare you for something. There may be a government shutdown. This is from Politico. Speaker Mike Johnson and his allies agreed that embracing a hardline spending proposal was the best of a slew of bad options to avoid an internal Republican blow-up weeks before Election Day. House Republicans just stomped on that plan. It's become clear that the package, which would punt a government shutdown deadline into March and require proof of citizenship to register to vote, has almost no shot at even passing the House due to Republican opposition. Johnson tacitly confirmed as much when he announced that leaders would delay a scheduled Wednesday vote on the bill until next week so they could work to build consensus. Behind the scenes, Johnson is under fire from multiple GOP factions. Some hardliners are accusing him of mounting a fake fight for which the outcome of cutting a deal with Democrats is already pre-baked. And a coalition of centrists and governing-minded pragmatists are questioning his endgame and why he would drag out the political pain for himself and them so close to November. While the speaker is not at risk of being ousted immediately, the widely acknowledged eventual outcome of the spending fight, leaning on Democrats to avoid a October 1st shutdown, could easily imperil his ability to keep the gavel come January. First-term Representative Mike Alford of Missouri says, I feel like I'm stuck in Groundhog's Day. So here's the problem. Republicans don't want to stick Donald Trump with a spending fight if he gets elected. Senate Republicans want to stretch out the funding to December, not to March. A lot of Republicans want to do the same thing. Other Republicans want the SAVE Act, Chip Roy's act, passed. I'm with them. They should. Even Senate Republicans like Susan Collins say they should. But there are Republicans in the House who say, no, we got to have bipartisan consensus on spending. Mitch McConnell wants no government shutdown at all, says it would be bad politics for the GOP to cause a shutdown right before the election, that voters would punish them. He's worried about control of the Senate. Mike Johnson is the dog that caught the car, and I feel bad for it. I really feel bad for Mike Johnson. He's a good man. I know him. Very nice guy. And he is an institutionally, philosophically conservative. He wants to do the SAVE Act. And you got enough cynics in the Republican conference who are actually saying, you don't really want to do the SAVE Act. He's like, no, I really want to do the SAVE Act. Like, no, this is what you want it to fail and then use Democrats to get funding. Well, the logical outcome is ultimately you're going to fund the government. They're not going to keep it shut down. You know they're not going to keep it shut down. I know they're not going to keep it shut down. So if the Republicans can't figure out a way to move forward together, he's going to have to rely on Democrats, and they're going to say no SAVE Act. There's just no trust in Republican circles right now, and that's why either the Republicans are going to lose or they've got to win big. And a lot of Republicans think the GOP is going to pick up the Senate but lose the House this year. I think if they win the House, they better hope like hell they win a whole lot more seats than they have, or they're just going to keep doing this. There's just a no-win situation for the speaker right now, who may be out of a job if he can't hold the majority. I don't think they'll keep him around as speaker if that's the case. And I think he wouldn't mind staying speaker. He's a good guy, first real pro-life evangelical to be Speaker of the House ever. But my goodness, the Republicans cannot come up with a plan to not trip over their own feet as they move forward. And that's also bad for Donald Trump as we head into the election. Somebody's got to give him some direction. It may have to be Donald Trump. We'll see. Keep your eye out for a government shutdown.